And Dr. Fishbein joins me now via Skype. It's so good to see you, Doctor. And I'm so happy that you formed this group. And so many were so happy to see you talking about this.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And thank you for giving me this platform to tell people what can be done in order to push back. We should not sit back and let them just take over our kids, our families, and our country. No way. We have to push back and do whatever we can in order to reinstitute what the public education was supposed to be in the first place.
Yes, no, and I think that's a great point. This all began with you, with No Left Turn, with your group in particular, and I know that I'm sure that you've received a lot of feedback from parents around the country on this. You have kids enrolled in elementary school. You wrote that you were puzzled to receive a cultural proficiency lessons family letter, and it was discussing all of this. You said it sounded like something out of Maoist China, and it was looking at, it was critical race theory. And you sent a very thorough, in-depth letter. And folks, I would highly encourage you to go to noleftturn.us and you can go and read it. And you pushed back. You were still waiting for a response, as I understand it, from your school when you first brought this up to them.
Correct. When I wrote it, I was hoping to get a response, but none came. And I'm yet to get a response. However, since I did not get a response, I wanted to post it in our parents' Facebook page of the school, and get some discussion from parents and some reaction to see what other parents feel about it and if they're comfortable with this kind of indoctrination. And when I did post it, as I was even pointing on Tucker, I was literally lynched and called all the names in the books that they usually call conservatives, being racist and bigots and not in our school. However, those were really handful parents. When I came and looked, there were basically 14 women and 1 man, all white, are attacking me. So at the same time that I was getting this public lynching, I was getting messages, including emails from people supporting me and thanking me for doing that. But my post was removed right away. They did not let the post stand there so people can have a mature discussion, a reasonable discussion about this kind of topic. They're just coming a day before, 2 days before school ends and imposing it on parents.
Yeah.
Without any discussion or consideration of other options.
It is amazing to see how ingrained this, I guess, this Marxist cultural warfare is in our schools, because you were talking about as we were watching you on television in my area, we've been going through the exact same thing. You mentioned Brain Pop, and Brain Pop is, I didn't realize how popular that was. That's in tons of different school districts. They're trying to teach this critical race theory to elementary school kids, elementary ages, kids who are trying to just learn the basics. Sorry, go ahead, Doctor.
Indeed. Interesting. When I was getting all those support messages and encouraging messages, that's when I decided, I said, look, I know my common sense as well as my professional background. I said, it doesn't make sense that this kind of learning in public school is accepted by most Americans. It just... using your common sense.
Right.
That's when I decided to launch the movement of No Left Turn. And I just called upon a few of the parents that supported me and sent me support messages. And we just met by now it's almost 4 weeks ago. And when we created Facebook, just the resources that our parents had. Somebody posted, set up the Facebook, somebody set up the website. And we started getting some traction, got some exposure in local media. And then the Washington Free Beacon came. And from there, I was invited to Tucker. By the time I was invited to Tucker, we probably had somewhere about 300 visitors to our website. By now, we have well over 800,000.
Wow. Wow.
And we are getting It's incredible. We are getting tens of thousands of messages and emails. Parents from all over the country are telling us their stories. Um, uh, I literally cried because you feel the agony, you feel the anxiety, you feel the kind of they're lost, they don't know what to do. Many stories also of parents that try to push back, but there is a total stonewall. Even if they present the case to school boards, the school board is indifference. They are
Wow.
kind of move ahead. One of the interesting things also that we found out that there are some forces that are pushing it. You talked about BLM.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, while there were, and I think that was a strategy that was planned, while we all were distracted with the riots, everybody was paying attention to the horrible riots. There already the leadership moved to the schools and put in all schools around America all the curriculum that they are, within the racial
Mm-hmm.
critical racial theory. They have just enormous wealth of books, of videos. Everything was set up in place. And from first day of kids in school, they were ready to go. There was no let us think, let us work, let us compile. Everything was ready to go. All the material that was put together by the Black Lives Matter ready to go on the first day of school. It was not math, it was not history, it was the BLM agenda was already in full blown ready to go.
Right.
The other hand, we have another organization that was also ready to go, but they've been doing that already for several years. But now they got really open doors to do even more, is the Planned Parenthood, the comprehensive sex education, which I believe might be even more dangerous than what BLM is doing, because they are undermining the very foundation of the humanity and human existence.
No, I think you're absolutely right and spot on with this. I mean, it's really unbelievable to think about how many parents and how many different school districts across the country are experiencing this. And you brought up a very good point, because it's heartbreaking to hear some of these stories. What they're teaching kids through this misrepresentation of education is incredibly dangerous and destructive to a child's well-being, because these are very young, impressionable children that are being taught there is something wrong with them because of their skin color, or if they're a male, and they're made to feel shame over who they are. And as a parent, your job is to protect your children. You see them being taught these destructive things in schools without even being told that here's a new curriculum we're going to be teaching your kids.
That's right. There's a lot of pointing fingers of blame and guilt on the white kids, where this is what they were born with. They don't understand it. Why? Because the color of the skin is different. They should be guilty of something that they are not responsible for. It's God given, and that's the way they were born. What they're doing, I'm looking at it also from a professional perspective, because I was trained in my bachelor degree as a clinical social worker.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I moved on in my master's and doctorate, I went more to the macro field of programming, planning, policy, and then research. But then when you look at the basic human interaction of kids to kids, you are teaching them from a very, very young age to look at people based on the color, to judge them based on the color, opposite of what Martin Luther King has been teaching us. So when the kids are interacting, we say, okay, here are black kids or a color kid and a white kid. You black kid, when you look at the white kid, you right away blame them for whatever is going wrong in your life, because they're white and they're responsible for whatever is not working for you. And you're telling the white kids, that's in one of the books that they give kindergarten to a third grader to look at, a basic book about race.
Yeah.
They're telling the kids, the white kids, you should be careful, because even the way you look at somebody, the way maybe you feel, things that nobody can really
Control.
understand, you're already guilty because you are racist.
I was reading one school. I know there's in Virginia in Loudoun County. They've been dealing with this. Pennsylvania, there was a district that was mandating white supremacy lessons for kindergartners. The Loudoun County School District in Virginia, they were working with the left-wing group Teaching Tolerance to develop new curriculum about slavery. There was also the 1619 Project from the New York Times, which even the originator of that said it wasn't historically based, that it was very much activism, and that was even being introduced in our schools. I think do you think that previously, before the lockdown, we were maybe so distracted with just day-to-day living as parents are that we did not see this creeping up in our schools? And now because of the lockdown, we have, I mean, a lot of our kids are online learning. We're seeing it firsthand.
Indeed. However, this didn't start today.
Oh, of course
This
not.
has been going on for a while, but many times it was even subliminal and you wouldn't notice. But now that they had, George Floyd killing gave them really the door that they needed to just run into and do it full blown. We know that it's political more than anything else. They used George Floyd, really unfortunate killing, the horrible killing of George Floyd as an excuse. We know it's not about Black life.
Right.
We know it's not about advancing the conditions of Black people in the community.
And it's not about academic. It's not academic either. It's not about academia either. I mean,
absolutely.
It very much is
in fact, it's anti-academic because they're taking precious time from teaching kids the skill that they know that they need in order to function in society and to advance and maximize on their potential. And they're brainwashing them into some doctrine that's going to give them nothing in life except destruction.
Right. Absolutely. The website is noleftturn.us. You can go there and reach out. And because I know parents everywhere are now organizing. There's a reason why a lot of people are homeschooling now. Dr. Elana Yaron, Fishbein.
I would add one thing, if you don't mind, because of the outpouring support and cry for help. We are going to start in the next few days opening chapters all across the country of No Left Turn. There are a lot of volunteers already from all over the country in many states that they are ready to go and start opening chapters. So parents will have a place to go. We're going to organize for action. It's not just a website to get information. It's a website to empower and energize people in order to act, because we got to stop it. We got to push back, and we cannot let them just roll over us. I indeed took my kids out of school and put them in a private school that does not indoctrinate them, because there are many private schools that do indoctrinate the kids.
Yes, they do.
But this is not a solution, because the problem is not a personal problem. Right. I took my kids out, but the society is changing, and those kids are going to go on the street and impact all of our life. So don't look for a personal solution, a private solution. You took your kids out of the school, you solved the problem. You didn't solve it. The whole society is going to be impacted.
And it has to be approached that way. Dr. Fishbein, noleftturn.us, and find them on Facebook as well. So appreciate you speaking out and doing this, and really rallying a lot of parents around the country. God bless you. Appreciate your work, and I know we'll be in touch again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's our D-Day. Get up and do it.
Absolutely. There you go. Thank you, Doctor.